421,000 side orders of guacamole and 84,100 sides of salsa, 40,000 of which were spicy. All right, meantime, spicy, nasty replies on Twitter will soon require a little more thought to send. The tech company today says it's rolling out.
Yeah, we know you're there, Chomo. Keep dumping. Keep dumping.
Mean replies to tweets and asks
Keep
you
dumping,
if you
Chomo.
really want to post that.
We know you've been hacking and harassing for 20 fucking minutes since you saw us get to the building. Whatever you're doing with your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi malware. Because I'm love nuts. Get it? I went to move.
$3.55. Earnings coming in fast and furious after the closing bell, including results from Uber, which said it's on record demand in the first quarter as its food deliveries continue to grow.
It's food delivery business. They don't have a food delivery business. They have a radio service. That's like saying, oh, the cab driver worked for the cab company. No, we don't.
Bottom line net loss of $108 million.
Yes, Chomo, keep it up. Every time I go to do anything, I want my OS to act all fucking.
Commerce and SD beat on its earnings expectations. The TSX was higher, up 122 points to 19,310. The Dow notched a record up 97 points to 34,230. S&P gained 2, while the Nasdaq fell 51 points on the day. Canadian dollar higher, up to 81.46 cents US. The top stories next on 680 News.
Weather.
It's all about the numbers. And if we're off by more than 3 degrees,
You can win our cash jackpot.
a number that continues to grow.
Enter at KPT.com. What do guests think of Tim's new vanilla cream cold brew coffee?
It's like smooth off the bar.
Velvety smooth. Tim's new cold brew coffee. Enjoy trying it. Enjoy describing it. It's time for Tim's at participating restaurants in Canada.
She helped you take your first steps. She walked you to the playground, walked you to school, walked the dog you promised you would walk. Mom never slowed down and always stepped up, and she's still on the go. At Evolution Walkers, we know the importance of mobility. That's why this Mother's Day, we're proud to offer one of the safest, most stable walkers on the market.
Thank you for perpetuating again the white supremacy thing of dogs are we're less than human. Everybody pretends they want the dog and won't walk it. So please keep pushing this. Adults get to demand things from children thing over and fucking over.
Tonight.
Because I've never met any kid that wanted a dog that didn't walk it or whatever. Never seen this in my life. White people, for 35 years I've been watching these people perpetuate that.
Degrees.
Trying to make people subconsciously not want to deal with dogs. Oh, I got mine from a shelter, so it's good. And then I got rid of it 6 months later because it was problem. It wouldn't do what I told it to do. You people buy dogs like TV sets, and you throw them out the same way, which is disgusting. Both.
May I'm Sultana Tominsic.
I'm James Monroe. Here's the breaking news right now.
I started the process of going online at least 15 minutes ago.
Regardless of their postal code, will now be eligible for a vaccine starting tomorrow. More and more people are becoming eligible to get the COVID-19 vaccine. That has prompted the city of Toronto to add 60,000 more appointments as of tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
The government has a new goal for COVID vaccinations.
First doses to 65% of Ontarians 18 and over by the end of May.
We'll explain how they plan to pull it off.
You see how they keep coming up with these? No, it's got to be this many percentage of the public. No, that's not how vaccines work. If you take the vaccine, you have the effect of it.
It is the breaking news.
Me getting it has no effect on your life.
Has no hit the Seattle Mariners. The Jays try again for
and you getting it doesn't mean that you won't spread the disease. So what did you get it for?
Petrol
For yourself, right?
Gas in the GTA expected to hit a 2-year
Green
high
peppers.
tonight. We're looking at the reasons why. Record-breaking day on Wall Street business. 56.
Of course, it's rice. No, it's Cantonese style. You got to mix it up yourself.
Traffic and weather together on the ones in Chopper 680. Here's Jordan Kerr.
I'm flying around this crash on Salem and Ajax. This does not look good. We have north
Why do you use to brag that you use the plane and all the other stations use helicopters? You got rid of Daryl Dahmer because he's a snitch. You got this idiot. We can't hear you over the helicopter. Well, I'll scream louder. Good. Turn up the gain on the mic. Make the helicopter louder, bro.
Being forced to turn around south of Roslyn and northbound Salem traffic being forced onto Ringer Drive. If you're on Carrison Drive, which is
I'm not sure where my chopsticks are.
This whole area. It's blocked on either side of Salem. So if you're on Carrison Drive and you approach Salem, you're forced
Hey, I'm pretty sure that's Mr. Benz, Uncle Benz.
Go through that intersection. So make sure you plan an alternate. This looks like it's going to be here for a while. Now on the 401, it delays West 401 Kipling to Dixon, approaching Mavis Express, Mavis Collectors to approaching Mississauga Road, and East 401 busy Islington to the 400 in both Express and Collectors. From the 680 Traffic Center, here's Carling Donahue.
We have delays left over on the major routes right now. Westbound on the QEW, Ford Drive to west of Trafalgar is busy. Northbound 427 is heavy, approaching the 407 to Highway 7. Northbound 410 delays start at Steeles and go up to Queen, and then we have delays on the East QEW from Trafalgar to the Ford Drive area. Northbound DVP moving slow from Don Mills to north of Lawrence, and southbound on the 404, we have delays approaching Shepherd to the 401 ramps. On city streets in Flamborough, we have Highway 6 shuttered both directions from Safari to Concession Road 8 West, which is just halfway between the 403 and 401, and that's due to a fatal collision investigation, and we have delays throughout the area. Your next report is at 6:41 with a look at the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsheim.
The wind is going to ease tonight. The cloud is going to clear as well. We are going to wake up to 3 degrees, though, so some chilly nights ahead pretty much all week long. Anywhere between 2 and 4 degrees, the overnight lows. After some sun tomorrow morning, increasing cloud in the afternoon and 14 degrees. I would hang on to an umbrella out through the east end, especially out through York and Durham for best chance of those afternoon showers.
It's not the east end.
Tonight down to a low of 3 degrees. It's currently 10 degrees at Pearson.
This is 680 News.
Breaking news from Peel Region. It's taking a massive step
forward
in its vaccination efforts. Starting tomorrow morning, postal codes no longer matter. This comes as the Ford government says 65% of the province should have at least one shot by the end of the month. We'll have more on that in a moment.
680's Madison Fitzpatrick.
Last time I was in here listening to this, postal codes mattered.
James, starting tomorrow at 8 a.m., Peel Public Health will begin accepting appointments across 11 mass vaccine clinics for residents aged 18 to 49. Here's Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie sharing her excitement.
I'm going to say it again and again and again because
The
it makes me so
finder of
happy.
lost
We
children.
will all be eligible for the vaccine
Wormwood,
as of 8
Chernobyl.
a.m. tomorrow.
This new expansion opens eligibility
There's
for
my
50,000
chopsticks.
residents who do not live in hotspots and have not yet had the opportunity to get vaccinated. Crombie thanks Public Health for all their hard work and also credits the provincial government for allocating more vaccine doses to Peel Region.
I really want to thank Dr. Lowe and his team and all those people involved in making the vaccine available to every adult.
False narratives, false scarcity, false dichotomy. Just
I'm Madison Fitzpatrick. COVID-19 vaccine appointments at city-run clinics in Toronto are almost entirely booked for the rest of the month. 680's Phil Martino tells us the mayor says more spots are being made available. Phil.
So, Jana, Mayor John Tory says over 220,000 people have registered for a vaccine in a city-run clinic since eligibility opened up Monday to those 18 and older who live in hotspots.
Every appointment we offer is based on the quantity of vaccine that we are scheduled to receive, and that is to avoid having to cancel appointments. Almost every appointment has been booked over the coming weeks.
Tomorrow, the province is opening a registration to all residents 50 and over and the first wave of essential workers who can't work from home. So in anticipation of new demand, the city is going to be making an additional 60,000 appointments available tomorrow, and they will be for between June 7th and 13th based on anticipated vaccine supply.
We are working to get every shot of vaccine we receive into an arm as quickly as possible. And it's good to know that hundreds of thousands of Toronto residents want to get vaccinated and that more doses are on the way.
The new spots can be accessed starting tomorrow morning by going to toronto.ca/COVID-19 vaccine and clicking the blue button that says book a vaccine. Phil Martino, 680 News.
So the province is expanding its COVID vaccine rollout again to include more pharmacies and workplaces in the GTA.
First doses to 65% of Ontarians aged 18 and over by the end of May.
And here's how Minister of Health Christine Elliott says the province can meet that goal. Thursday has been confirmed as the date for adults as young as 50 in the general population to book their vaccination.
What about segregation? What about segregation units? I need the adjuvant free.
Hamilton, Windsor, and Ottawa will be giving out Moderna doses by the end of this week. And a pilot program that's been running this week in Toronto and Peel with pharmacies and the Pfizer vaccine will be expanded. And 10 mobile...
Because they don't have enough Pfizer. Right. It's one fake thing
around Toronto and Peel.
The Ontario Food Terminal in Toronto, the largest wholesale fruit and produce distribution center in Canada, will operate a
I'm pretty sure North America. Well, when they built it.
At Queen's Park, I'm Mark Douglas.
That food terminal?
The Biden administration has issued a statement saying it is in support of waiving the intellectual property protections on COVID-19 vaccines. Our business editor Richard Southern joins us with the market reaction.
It would mean countries like ours could be able to produce these vaccines without relying on the big drug companies. So the Biden
This is a Chinese initiative,
in favor of waiving the patents for
or it's
these
modeled
particular drugs.
on a Chinese
By no means a
initiative.
done deal. Switzerland, the EU, and the UK would have to approve this. It would take
Really?
time.
They would have to
Mary
approve
Jane,
it.
Canada's international trade
Why?
minister, says she
Why would they have
supports
to
it, and
approve
I
it? We're in
quote,
Canada.
has always been and remains
The Canadian
a strong
police are going to
advocate
show up
for
and arrest you
affordable
because the
access to
Swedes
safe,
tell you to?
effective
Really?
COVID-19
Really?
vaccines. Of course, the drug companies are not in favor of it. They contend that few countries have the ability to produce the shots, even if they know the formulas. Shares in Moderna.
That is technically true.
All lower today. I'm Richard Southern.
Look, the United States can't do it. You got two different companies making vaccines in the same fucking factory. Hazard analysis, critical control points. You don't do that.
Can now be used for children as young as 12.
After completing a thorough and
Based
independent
on what?
scientific review of the evidence, the department determined
Remember,
that the
kids get this
vaccine is safe and
VITT shit.
effective when used in its younger
From a
age.
year ago, they've been saying
Dr.
this.
Supriya Sharma with Health Canada says trials
Or
show
6
the
months or
efficacy
whatever.
of the vaccine in the 12 to 15 age group
Adults,
is
this has been happening to for about 2 months.
Canada is the first country to lower Pfizer's eligibility to 12. The previous approval was for 16 and up. The change is effective immediately. Meanwhile, the Trudeau
Because of the
government
teachers'
announces
unions,
Canada will
the
be
teachers'
receiving
pension
1 million
fund,
Moderna vaccines the week of May 17th. That's
This,
on top
so
of
we
the
can tell them they
million
have to do
doses
it before they can come to school. Guess what? Schools ain't opening again. So this is all for naught. You're manipulating nothing.
Committed to delivering 2 million doses a week.
Within 3 weeks, they're going to change that authorization. Who wants to bet $1? Within 3 weeks, they won't be giving it to 12-year-olds no more.
On your radio, on our mobile app, and on your smart speaker.
Play 680 News.
They tested it on like 100 kids. Remember? They told us that. About 100 kids or something, whatever. Somebody else can find the numbers. And then they don't tell us everything they do. Okay, so however many studies they did, they didn't test it as much as they tested on adults, the clinical trials. And they found out about the blood clot risk after the fact. What did they say a year ago? That kids get this vascular inflammatory something syndrome. VISS or something. How they call it? VITT or whatever. It's the same fucking problem. It's the same fucking problem. It fucks your blood system up. And then you die. How do I know? I got sickle cell. How do you know that? Because it says right here, I love sickle cell. Nobody would say that unless they either had it or their partner had it. Because then their kids will have it.
Incredible casino games.
Hey, to make that really simple, any child I father will have at least one allele. There's no way around it. Which means even if the mother doesn't have any alleles, in the next generation, if they hook up with someone else with one allele, my grandkids could have full-blown sickle cell.
Yep, the tastiest foods prepared fresh.
You know, so I said that they used to say HIV, AIDS. No, he's got full-blown AIDS. Full-blown AIDS. This is not my joke. I am stealing a joke, just repeating a joke. But I got there. We waived the copyright things I heard because of COVID, right? So I got fully blown sickle cell. I got B19. Can you see that clearly? Probably no, because people aren't going to understand what the fuck B19 is. I can't just put the word virus. They still won't get that. If I put parvo without virus, they won't get that. Oh.
Really bad crash in Ajax right now. We have Salem
Jesus,
closed
bro.
north and southbound, north of Highway 2 to south of Roslyn, all because of a really serious crash. It does not look good down here. There are at least 2 cars involved. There was a third car here that got towed away. It may have been unrelated, but 2 cars, it looks as if they crashed head on. Tremendous amount of damage to both. Again, it does not look good down here. North and southbound Salem closed. Northbound's closed off at Ringer. That's north of Highway 2. Southbound Salem closed off south of Roslyn. So southbound traffic on Salem, south of Roslyn, forced to just turn around in that construction zone.
Right?
So be aware.
I just called it the East End too.
Harrison Drive blocked off on either side of Salem. So if you're approaching Salem on Harrison Drive, either eastbound or westbound, you're forced to just turn around. So plan accordingly. And it looks like this closure is going to be in place for quite a while. Now on the 401 westbound, you're going to find delays approaching Mavis Express, approaching Mississauga Road. If you're trying to get to the westbound 401, the ramp from southbound Kennedy to westbound 401 has been
different than what I just
put
in this.
Truck leaking fluid on the ramp.
On the potatoes, I think.
That, make sure you plan accordingly. The northbound
stirred
ramp
it
is
up.
open. From the 680 Traffic Center, here's Carling Donahue.
We have delays on the northbound DVP, Don Mills to north of Lawrence. It's slow on the southbound 404, approaching Shepherd down to the 401 ramps.
Yeah.
Heavy on the northbound 427 from approaching the 407 to Highway 7. Northbound 410 delays at Steeles up to Queen, and then eastbound QEW is moving slow from east of Trafalgar to Fort Drive. On city streets in Flamborough, we still have Highway 6 closed both directions from Safari to Concession Road 8, and that is all due to a fatal collision investigation. Let's get Toronto vaccinated. Get the COVID vaccine when it's your turn. Book online at toronto.ca/COVID-19 or call 888-999-6488. Now we'll look at the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsahine.
Gray skies, still some spotty showers. Man, these things are pesky out through Oakville and Burlington right now, but everything's going to ease up here in the next 30 minutes or dry out over the next 30 minutes.
Made in China.
Skies clearing gradually.
But it's the real shit.
The wind's getting lighter. We're going to wake up to sunshine in 3 degrees. Bring back the cloud in the afternoon with 14 degrees, a little bit milder than today, and best chance for any spotty afternoon showers, super light. It's going to be out through York and Durham. A Thursday night, though, watching Burlington
all this shit here I'm
Niagara
talking
Falls. We're going to be into some light rain. That lingers into Friday morning, so leave some extra commute time down through the West End. Friday here in the city is mainly cloudy with afternoon showers for Toronto and a risk of thunderstorms with 11 degrees. Tonight down to a low of 3 degrees, and right now it's 10 degrees out of Pearson.
This is 680 News. Peloton is issuing 2 voluntary recalls for its treadmills, including more than 5,000 here in Canada.
Not
the
Velo, not pedo or whatever.
Injured from being pulled under the rear of the treadmill. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says in total, the companies received 72 reports. And last month, the commission warned people with children or pets to immediately stop using Peloton treadmills. Now, more than 100,000 devices were sold in the
See how
US,
pale I am for real?
5,400 in Canada.
That's the real. That's basically my real color right there.
Peloton
and then here you see blood.
For its stationary
that redness is just blood vessels from a bandana press
3 years ago. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Food deliveries, online shopping, and homeschooling.
No, I still don't know what causes this here.
Ends. We're juggling mortgage and credit cards, all without Tim's income. You wonder how we do it? We don't. We can't afford the payments.
For a limited time for new members only.
Dads, we all got one. Close the fridge door, will ya? You're letting all the cold air out. Always trying to save a buck or two around the house. Are you almost done in there? You've been running the water for 20 minutes. At LG Home Comfort, they're dads too, and moms, so they understand saving money on energy. That's why if you're an Ontario homeowner, your first and last call should be to LG Home Comfort for your heating, cooling, and water needs. So get a tankless water heater and save on that 20-minute shower, or flip on that air conditioner. Visit LGHomeComfort.ca to learn more.
With the pandemic and the ability to work from home, it's made so many of us reevaluate our priorities and our lives. Well, I want to introduce you to Alan. He did more than just think about it. He decided it was time to make a move, so he called one of the most trusted names in real estate, Frank Leo and Associates. Now, they met with Alan and listened to his goals, what he wanted for his life. And Alan wasn't concerned with getting the highest price. His goal was peace and tranquility, and he wanted it in less than 30 days. Well, Frank and his team went to work and turned Alan's dreams into reality. They were able to sell his property within his 30-day time frame.
The water line's right there.
$150,000.
But when I filled it 5 years ago, it was there. It's lost 1 cc in about 5 years.
#1 RE/MAX team in Toronto and the GTA. Call 416-917-5466. That's 416-917-LION, or go to getleo.com. That's getleo.com and start packing.
As a business owner, you need a one-stop solution to all your IT needs.
You need the Wise Tech Group.
Because Wise Tech Group takes a proactive approach to providing reliable managed IT services.
Talk to Wise Tech Group today about security and backup.
Wise Tech Group offers migrating to cloud solutions.
And unparalleled service from their help desk support. Email anytime. help@itsupportshow.com.
There used to be fish in there, but I cannot be 100% sure if they're in there or not.
Elevators. They're not something we give much thought to. But when they're not operating correctly, it can cause serious disruptions. That's why...
Longest commercial breaks in Toronto. There used to be fish in here. I've got them in other bottles. The Pygmaea pandaca from the Philippines, I believe, originally. They're considered extinct there. But they are in fish tanks and things around the world. They dig down into the mud when the rivers dry up. They lay eggs. They don't birth live. They lay eggs. When the water comes back, they come up out the mud. And the biggest I've ever seen is about 3 or 4 millimeters. But these ones, so I call them dwarf albino pygmy goby. They're pygmy gobies, but that's the species. I call these ones dwarf albinos, but they're the same species. They're just particularly small, as far as I could tell anyway. They're just particularly small. The maximum size of them is 1.1 centimeters, 11 millimeters for the, I think it's 11 for the males, and 1.4 centimeters for the females. But I've never seen these ones get longer than 3 or 4 millimeters. They have no pigment. They're white. Well, they're no pigment. When the light shines through them, they go white on a black background. You need a bright light at one angle and a black background. It's kind of tricky to see them sometimes, but I have got video on this channel. Dwarf albino pygmy goby. Search the channel. You'll find this bottle, and you'll see them swimming around. That is the same water, too.
You know, you got to wonder how history will judge our country's response to COVID-19, and I would...
the kids are already judging
It's not going to be very kind when we open these history books, because those in charge just keep turning to lockdowns as the answer, despite the evidence, growing evidence at that lockdowns aren't working, and ultimately the cost of them is too large for society at whole. In other words, this non-cure is actually proven costlier than the disease. David Redman is our former colonel with lots of military experience, and he's also the former executive director
of the answer to Colonel Potter
Emergency Management Agency. Good to have you, sir.
Hi, Alec.
So I immediately
and you can thank
you last night when
Russell
I saw the
Williams for that
measures and said, "Oh gosh, now you're like us. What happened?" I mean, are you surprised that this turn of events? Did you see it coming, and should it not have been avoided?
Now what happened?
I'm not surprised. They've been giving all the signs for the last 2 weeks, building their case through case counts and trying to terrify the population here in Alberta. And it's the constant rhetoric. We're going to overwhelm our medical system.
That's not rhetoric.
Well, Alex, it's
not rhetoric.
Months.
It was a warning a year ago. It was a warning. Now we're in it. Hey, old man,
months, your
heart start feeling weak and you go to the hospital. You know you're going to die, right? If you have to go to the hospital for some reason, Mr. Colonel, you know you're going to die, right? But it's just rhetoric.
Yeah, I mean, under your watch,
why don't you go there now and try to visit somebody? Let's see what happens.
All of which has been ignored, and you talk about, you know, the proper.
Oh, no, we won't be doing that. You ever see a white person go, oh, no, we won't be doing that.
Infrastructure to deal with demand like hospitalization. To your point, you stop the fear campaigns, you get healthy people back to work, you keep schools open. Wasn't that what Alberta was trying to do?
Why would you keep the schools? What did you just say?
The rhetoric, you would have thought that.
Everything about the vaccines is rhetoric. What's happening in Alberta is not rhetoric.
In terms of the business closures.
And if you don't know, their case counts through the roof.
They just closed the elementary schools. The other schools were
They don't believe in healthcare.
Online learning.
They don't believe in contributing. They really believe that because for about 10 years, they contributed transfer payments and makes up for the other like 100 years of transfer payments going the other way.
Diminishing case count or decreasing death. And yet, we knew before this pandemic that the use of non-pharmaceutical interventions, i.e. lockdowns, were not effective
There was published documentation before this pandemic. The best infectious disease doctors in the world published the latest updated version of it in September 2019. And now...
You just said it was before the pandemic. You just said it was before the pandemic. March 2019 is the first record we have of this that they're willing to admit to.
Clearly shown that lockdowns haven't been effective in either diminishing...
Because you walk around spitting in black people's faces thinking it's funny, just like you shoot natives. Hey, how's that KKK outlet doing on that branch, that, whatever you call it?
And they have ignored all the best science in the world telling them they don't. And so
the best science says...
But what they've also ignored...
Remember, no data is data, and that's science.
Everything in our news.
These are people that throw the word science around when it suits them.
The crushing of our children's education, death from other diseases.
You know what Schrodinger's cat is?
National debt. And so,
right, seeing or not seeing has nothing to do with it.
That lockdowns, in some way, stop the progression of the
disease.
Study after study is saying at least 10 times, somewhere between 10 times and upwards of 100 times, more damage is being done by lockdowns than they're saving.
No, it's not.
And
what do you mean by lockdown? Because you people get told not to spit in people's faces. Oh, you're restricting my rights.
You know, you talk about the fear campaigns. I mean, one thing that we started hearing about 2 weeks ago in Ontario was that doctors would have to do triage. They would have to basically choose who
2 months ago.
Dies.
2 months
now
ago.
A lot of people are kind of
which would be 9 weeks. Maybe I'm off by a bit, but it was 2 months ago. They said there's a website online calculator where you enter the person's information.
I mean, it was shocking to hear when I heard it at the beginning. Like, we live in a G7 nation. Now we're choosing who lives and who dies. But I don't know if that was just a torqued headline, you know, to get people to comply or where that information.
She works in the media. There's no way she doesn't know. They talked about this 2 or 3 months ago. There is an online calculator.
On TV and was saying the same sort of thing. A member of the press asked him straight out, when would we get to that point? And he said, well, if things don't change and progress as they are, in about 4 weeks, we'll probably be at that point. And so, yes, it's never happened, but it should have never happened.
They said we're looking at possibly 6,000 cases, new cases a day.
After 15 months, don't know how to run a hospital system.
Was it March, April, May? What are we at? 4,000 and change.
The waves go by.
It's so far off. 4,000 and change is so far from 6,000. It never happened.
For economic research, you know, they don't agree with lockdown measures. They call them a science experiment, with most of the human population being used as lab rats.
No.
You know, Saskatchewan.
Most of the world isn't doing what we're doing. The rules here have no effect anywhere else.
It's not still till I think the end of May that they start taking the steps, but at least they've got a plan. We've heard.
And the vast majority of the world, not white. It's funny how you always side with dark-skinned people when it suits you.
We not be getting a
this is an experiment on all of us. White people in minority.
Groups at the park, or maybe get on a golf course. We're still
2.5 billion people in 2 countries in Asia. How many in Africa? Where do you think white people are the majority? Not in North America. You're all mixed blood. You deny it, but you're all mixed blood.
This morning here in Alberta, and
DNA analysis shows that.
They don't want to talk about the recovery plan. They're still working on trying to manage the disease. The recovery plans should have been written on March the 15th when the pandemic was declared. March 15th, 2020, not 2021. The minute you enter into an emergency,
this guy's a colonel.
Really? Recovery plan on
how many privates did you fucking friendly fire?
You know how to move out of it, and yet it seems like there is only one solution to this pandemic. It's to use lockdowns, which we've proven time and again don't actually diminish the spread of the disease, but have massive collateral damage. And they should be ready to pivot.
White people not being allowed to throw their garbage in nigger hoods and spit at niggers. Who called the cops on me 4 times in one day would be white people. That white guy's cleaning up the nigger hood and he won't clean up our neighborhood.
To talk to their friends.
No, I won't.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll stay tuned and we'll have you on again. And I always appreciate your time. Thank you, David.
Walking your dogs in the schoolyard, shitting on the playground. I don't mean just in the parking lot. And then screaming at me that it's a public street. Really? The schoolyard's a public street?
They got vaccinated. That's one way out of this thing.
I notice you people blah, 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 but you walk away backwards real fast.
They got vaccinated. Of course, we don't have vaccinations, so maybe that's...
If I tell you not to hurt a child, it's not a fucking question.
failed mission. When we come back, we'll get your news at the top of the hour. We got a busy show here tonight. We'll get you set up for that in just a minute.
So some people think that because I keep walking on my way doing what I'm doing, that they ignored me and I didn't do nothing. I got a list of you fucking assholes. You know that, right? I got a top 200 just like Billboard. You know what happens? The people at the top of the list, 9 times out of 10, something else wipes them out. Where's all these idiots bugging me? Almost all of them died in the last year. Well, I got shit to do, so.
Waste.
Pizzaville, Stone.
Good to the last. Yeah.
And she just did this. So that's some Bati Boy things again. Keep playing it over and over and over and over. We're milking dudes. Why are you playing that over and over and over? It sounds innocent, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Let's put it this way. If you fight sex offenders, you end up being exposed to all sorts of really bad stuff and concepts. The lockdowns have been proven over and over not to work. That's funny. This is the first time we've ever done this since 1918, eh? It was the first time what other things we have? Typhoid fever and things like that, yellow fever. There's a bunch of things like that. Guess what? Those quarantines worked, or we'd all be dead from those diseases. And that's an actual quarantine. Public health officials, police, military, whatever, they put a sign on your door. No one's allowed in, no one's allowed out. That's a lockdown. You people are complaining that being told to wear a mask, there's a lockdown. There's all these bitches in jail. Oh, 23.5-hour lockdown. I've been here 6 months. You owe me your sandwich. Really? He's been inside 6 months. I owe him my sandwich. Now, here's the fucked up part. I was in a jumpsuit, not this color, a white plastic one. They're all in street clothes. Why was I mixing with them? I'm P3. What the fuck was I doing with, I don't know if they're General Pop or they were P1 or P2. One of those is General Pop. One of those is protective custody. I think P1 is protective custody, but I don't remember.
S&P was up 2. The NASDAQ fell 51. Uber reported earnings after the close, and no surprise here, its Uber Eats division continues to really outperform. Eats bookings jumping 166% year on year. The company's revenue, though, did fall 11% to $2.9 billion, missing the mark. Canadian dollar on the move. It's up to 81.48 cents US and hang tight because the top stories tonight are seconds away on 680 News.
In times like these, shouldn't your money work even harder for you? We think so. That's
so the 9 out of 10 people, the 99% or whatever out here, they don't agree with this colonel and this white girl. Go get up in the average person's face right now and watch what happens. Watch what happens. Now, the only reason people won't hit you or whatever, or they'll step back, because they know it's biological warfare. So when you see Buddy go, oh, swinging his cane at me, and you see me backing up, it's because he's spitting. I'll stab him later in the back of the neck, don't worry. But I won't let him spit on me. Oh, Chomo's mad. Show me more pictures of my eyes clamped shut and my head jerking like this. And you're done too, buddy.
Your turn is coming soon.
Oh, by the way, the guy I was just talking about, best buddies with Chomo, apparently. Found out I was black a few days ago. Now he's going to kill me.
100 languages, paid for by the government of Ontario.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Hickory Dickory Decks. Celebrating over 30 years of custom decks and happy customers, Hickory Dickory Decks offers the widest selection of low maintenance decking. Enjoy life outdoors. Visit decks.ca.
In Brampton, some sun, 10 degrees. Oakville, partly cloudy and 11. Downtown Toronto, a little more sun than cloud right now, 11 degrees. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto at 7 o'clock.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News. Good evening. It's Wednesday, May the 5th. I'm James Monroe.
I'm Jana Timmons. And here are the top stories right now.
Big moves in Peel Region.
I've never been more confident that brighter days are ahead.
Starting tomorrow, regardless of their
someone with no natural empathy just use euphemisms we don't use. They're from the 60s and 70s. That's where these books come from. Stare in their eyes. People not Actually stare in people's eyes. If you can't stare at their eyes, stare at their mouth and pretend.
65% of all adults get their first dose of COVID vaccine by the end of this month.
7.9 million Ontarians.
It's not gonna happen. Every fucking clinic has fucking leftover doses and empty appointment booking lists.
Winning Wednesday for stocks, the TSX with a triple-digit win. Plus, how the owner of the Tinder app is betting on a summer of love to lift revenue. Business at 20s.
Didn't you shut down your app last year?
701.
Traffic weather together on the ones, Carolyn Donahue.
So anything you do this year would make more money, wouldn't it?
So the main problems we're dealing with right now are actually off of our major highways. First off, in the Durham region, north and southbound Salem.
But the thing is, I thought Tinder was about meeting up in person. That's not what's going to take off this year.
Collision. It looks like a serious crash.
Tinder's about meeting up in person. That's not going to take off this year. You know what will? Again, we see lots of things on the internet. These video chat type connection sites, similar to Tinder, but there's no physically meeting in person. That's what's taking off right now. By the way, the biggest driver of the internet, aside from the military, is anything related to pornography.
Drive blocked off at Salem, so if you're going up towards it, you're going to be forced to turn around there as well. So it would just really benefit you if you avoided the area. Your alternates are moving okay right now throughout the stretch. We also have on city streets, this one's actually in Flamborough, but it's Highway 6 shut down both directions from Safari to Concession Road 8, and that's for a fatal collision investigation. So we do have heavy delays in the area. Westbound Safari and westbound Concession 8 is busy from west of Highway 6 to Brock Road, and southbound Brock Road is busy from south of Concession 8 to Safari. So really, it's just jammed in that area. You're going to want to avoid that stretch too. On our major highways, there's not a lot going on, but we do have the southbound Kennedy ramp to the West 401 blocked off due to a spill. A truck actually leaked some fluid onto the roadway, so they're just cleaning that up. And northbound on the 427, we have a delay on the ramp to Highway 7. For a limited time, lease a 2021 RX 350 F Sport Series 2 at 1.9% with payments from $318 and F Sport credits of $1,000. Now with a look at the forecast, here is Natasha Ramsaheim.
Some sunny breaks through this afternoon. The cloud cover finally leaving us. The winds are still on the gusty side late today, up to about 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, and then easing overnight tonight. We're going to wake up to some sunshine, a chilly start, 3 degrees with a risk of frost up through cottage country, and then some increasing cloud, but it's going to be a dry Thursday, not as windy, with a high of 14 degrees. Tonight, we're down to a low of 3 degrees.
Downtown Toronto, partly cloudy and 11 degrees. This is 680 News.
The breaking news tonight from Peel Region. As of tomorrow morning, postal codes no longer be required for adults to get a COVID vaccine.
680's Madison Fitzpatrick tells us all adults will be eligible for a shot in Madison.
Now, all Peel residents who are 18 years or older will now be eligible for a shot starting tomorrow, regardless of their postal code. Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie says this new expansion opens eligibility for residents who do not live in hotspots and have yet to have the opportunity to be vaccinated.
This is important because a handful of the postal codes in Peel, most of them were in Mississauga, one of them were in Caledon, were not considered hotspots by the province, yet they had higher case counts and higher hospitalization rates than some of the other identified hotspots in other regions.
Currently, people 18 plus in the identified hotspots can book now using the province's booking system. And starting tomorrow, residents who are aged 18 to 49 but do not live in an identified hotspot postal code must book an appointment online using the region's Appeals booking system. Reporting live, I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
So Mayor Bonnie Crombie is not impressed with word of her retirement party at the Canada Post Gateway facility in Mississauga. She says the plan has already been the subject of a number of partial closures because of outbreaks.
It's incredibly irresponsible. If they had a house party, there would be no different. We would have been over there and ticketing it. Incredibly irresponsible.
Now, just last week, Peel Public Health ordered one of the shifts shut down and sent about 90 workers home to self-isolate for 10 days.
This is 680 News. More and more Torontonians are stepping up to get a COVID vaccine. 680's Phil Martino joins us with the latest from city officials on how they plan to further expand the rollout of shots. Phil.
So Jana, Mayor John Tory says it's a great sign of progress that over 220,000 people have registered for a vaccine in a city-run clinic since eligibility opened up just Monday to those 18 and older who live in hotspots.
I do want to thank every eligible person who has stepped up to get vaccinated.
He says he knows we'll see another increase in demand beginning tomorrow,
when the province implements their decision to open up registration in the provincial system to all residents 50 and older, as well as the first wave of essential workers who can't work from home.
In anticipation of this new demand, the city will be making an additional 60,000 appointments available tomorrow, and they'll be for between June 7th and 13th. The spots can be accessed starting tomorrow morning by going to toronto.ca/COVID-19 vaccine and clicking the blue button that says book a vaccine. As of noon today, all city-operated clinics are fully booked or very close to fully booked until June 6th. Phil Martino, 680 News.
Well, the province maintains it's on track to offer a first dose of COVID vaccine to all adults across Ontario by the end of the month. Today announcing some more movement to get vaccines out sooner.
That's another Freudian slip right there. The first dose of COVID, the vaccine.
Outlining how the province will meet that vaccination goal in less than 4 weeks. First up, the age limit for the general population to book their vaccination drops down to 50 on Thursday, and 10 new mobile clinics at large workplaces will be rolling out in the next couple of weeks, similar to the employer-led clinics at places like Amazon. Solicitor General Sylvia Jones.
But not Canada Post.
Walmart, Magna, Air Canada, Purelator,
Belinda Stronach.
The Ontario Food Terminal May 10th. And pharmacies will be expanding their use of Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. Almost 60 locations in York, Durham, Hamilton, Windsor, and Ottawa will be giving out Moderna shots by the end of this week. At Queen's Park, I'm Mark Douglas.
A vaccine maker says it's taking steps to confront potential mutations of COVID-19.
Moderna says early data shows a booster shot it has developed and its testing does work against the Brazilian and South African.
And it's not a booster shot, it's a different vaccine.
Needed. Right now, the original vaccines appear to work well.
And remember, booster, that comes from booster rocket. It's just colloquial. It doesn't mean anything. You had one before, this one's a booster.
The booster, do it alone or with the original vaccine. Alex Stone, EDC News.
This is All News Radio 680
Yeah,
News.
not
Children
really.
as young as 12 will now be allowed to receive the vaccine from Pfizer in Canada.
Canada's the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer shot for children as young as 12. The authorization coming after Health Canada reviewed trial data, and Dr. Supriya Sharma says they determined the shot is safe and very effective.
The vaccine's efficacy after the second dose in preventing COVID-19 in this younger age group.
But did you review it, or are you just reading their results?
To a more normal life. The change is effective immediately, but the vaccine rollout is up to the provinces. Meanwhile, more vaccine news from the federal government. Canada will be receiving a shipment of 1 million Moderna doses the week of May 17th.
So remember, vaccines have never been tested before for efficacy. This past year, they have been. You'll notice they tested for efficacy. Did they mention safety? No, because they know with 1 in a million odds type shit, your thousands and thousands of clinical trials or whatever you want to call them, lab rats, it's not going to show up in there. No, you will get more of this vascular inflammatory syndrome.
With all that's going on these days, let good food help make life a little easier. Get $80 off the #1 meal kit in Canada and free contactless delivery directly to your door. With fresh, fun, and delicious recipes for every palate in your household. We're making mealtime easier and
has to do with layoffs and COVID-19. Now, I've been saying on this show since COVID first hit over a year ago that for those employees that have been put on a temporary layoff,
When was that? Over a year, so he means April or March.
Termination. Now,
December.
I've been saying this
And in March 2019, they have frozen sewage samples from Spain that prove COVID was already
Well,
circulating.
guess what? Recently, our courts here in Ontario agreed and said, yes, absolutely. If you've been put on a temporary layoff despite COVID-19, despite any regulations that the government of Ontario may have implemented, that is still a termination. That still gives you the right and the choice to treat that as a termination of your employment. So we don't have doubt anymore. We're not guessing, we're not speculating. We know this for a fact. So you need to understand that if you have been put on a layoff, whether it's recently or maybe it was even last March, you can treat that as a termination. You don't have to sit at home and wait and wonder. Maybe you're thinking, well, other people are being called back to work, not me. What do I do? Well, here's an option that you have. Severance. As much as 24 months pay, you can force that issue. If you want to, we have the court backup now. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. You have that right.
By the way, outside of the show, 1-855-821.
Who's calling?
This report is brought to you by Diamond & Diamond Lawyers. We have a number of problems on city streets. First, Salem is shut down both directions from Ringer to Rossland, and that's for a collision investigation. So they've closed off all lanes on the highway between that stretch. If you're going northbound, you're going to be forced on the Ringer, and if you're going southbound, you're going to be forced to actually turn around. So just avoid Salem through that stretch. If you don't know where it is, it's just north of Highway 2. Then Kerrison, because of the same crash, is blocked off at Salem. So if you're approaching Salem, you're going to be forced to turn around once again. We have another collision way out at the other end of the GTA. This isn't even in the GTA, but in Flamborough, we have Highway 6 shut down from Safari to Concession 8 for a fatal collision investigation. We have delayed.
Don't fall asleep with it on your neck. Don't tie a granny knot, only a square knot, and do not let anyone else tie it for you, because they'll fuck it up and you won't be able to untie it fast enough. Always carry a knife so you can cut it off.